Hi. Lately, I've been thinking about some older poets, uh, John Keats and William Butler Yeats. I heard the word Yeet, and I started thinking, who is that poet, Keats or Yeats? And because I know there was a poem that I used to like in high school, and whenever I tried to remember who wrote the poem, I would think, is it Yeats or Keats? So I heard the word yeet and I was like, wow, I should go back and look at who those guys are. And so I figured I'd do it on a video so I could save the information and in case it helps anyone else. Okay, so I did look the guys up and so John Keats, John Keats was from England. He was an English poet who lived in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and he was a romantic poet. And then there was two other poets that were his contemporaries, Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley. I feel like I could do a video on modern slang versus Percy Bysshe Shelley as well, but or Shelley as well, but that's I'll have to think about that. So his most popular poems, and the one that I remember is an ode. Those are his most popular ones. So if it's kind of like if you like a really good band, but you only like their most well-known songs, and you don't really know about the songs that they published when they were uh, still playing from a garage and doing gigs. And for instance, like Weezer, say you only like Island in the Sun and the Sweater Song, and you don't know about the glacier of work that's under the surface of the water that they did before they published those songs that everybody knows. So that's kind of like how I am with Keats. I only know his well-known stuff. I'm interested in learning more about him now. Um, I don't think I think if you to be interested in learning a lot about him as a young person, you would really have to be into this stuff. It's cool though. I mean, the things that he wrote, uh, they're really deep and insightful in his use of languages. He doesn't leave any room for misinterpretation. And the way that we currently speak has so much shorthand that it's almost impossible to correctly interpret something that someone says. So that's why that's the thing that people are throwing around a lot with the shorthand words is the mystery. Like, say, I use a word that is not even in the dictionary. It's one of the modern shorthand words, and I just use it because I know that it could mean multiple things to you, and I figure you'll pick the one that you want to hear. And so it's kind of a lazy way of talking. So that's why I think it's good to read these guys. But the one that I really remembered and liked from high school, Ode to Psyche, is the one that I really love. And I read it again and I do still love it. After I read it, I'll show you the reason why I just absolutely love this poem. Ode to Psyche. O goddess, hear these tuneless numbers, rung by sweet enforcement and remembrance dear, and pardon that thy secrets should be sung, even into thine own soft-conched ear. Surely I dreamed today, or did I see the winged Psyche with awakened eyes? I wandered in a forest thoughtlessly, and on the sudden, fainting with surprise, saw two fair creatures couched side by side in deepest grass beneath the whispering roof of leaves and trembled blossoms where there ran a brooklet scared, espied. Mid-hushed, cold-rooted flowers, fragrant-eyed, blue, silver-white, and budded Tyrian. They lay calm, breathing on the bedded grass, their arms embraced, and their pinions too. Their lips touched not, but had not bade adieu, as if disjoined by soft-handed slumber, and ready still past kisses to outnumber. At tender eye dawn of Aurorian love, the winged boy I knew, but who wast thou, O happy, happy dove? His Psyche true. O latest born and loveliest vision far of all Olympus' fated hierarchy, fairer than Phoebe's sapphire regioned star, or Vesper, amorous glow-worm of the sky, fairer than these, though temple thou hast none, nor altar heaped with flowers, nor virgin choir to make delicious moan upon the midnight hours, no voice, no lute, no pipe, no incense sweet, from chains swung, censer teeming, no shrine, no grove, no oracle, no heat of pale-mouthed prophet dreaming. Too brightest, though too late for antique vows, too late for the fond believing lyre, and when holy were the haunted forest boughs, holy the air, the water, and the fire. Yet even these days, so far retired from happy pieties, thy lucent fans, fluttering among the faint Olympians, I see and sing, my own eyes inspired. So let me be thy choir, and make a moan upon the midnight hours, thy voice, thy lute, thy pipe, thy incense sweet, from swinged censer teeming, thy shrine, thy grove, thy oracle, thy heat, of pale-mouthed prophet dreaming. Yes, I will be thy priest, and build a fane in some untrodden region of my mind, where branched thoughts, new grown with pleasant pain, instead of pines, shall murmur in the wind. Far, far around shall those dark clustered trees fledge the wild-ridged mountains steep by steep, and there by zephyrs, stream, and birds and bees, the moss-lain dryads shall be lulled to sleep, and in the midst of this wide quietness a rosy sanctuary will I dress, with wreathed trellis of a working brain, with buds and bells and stars without a name, with all the gardener, fancy, e'er could feign, who, breeding flowers, will never breed the same. And there shall be for thee all soft delight that shadowy thought can win, a bright torch and a casement ope at night to let the warm love in. So that's Ode to Psyche. And my favorite part of this poem is, yes, I will be thy priest and build a fane in some untrodden region of my mind, where branched thoughts new grown with pleasant pain instead of pines shall murmur in the wind. Far, far around shall those dark clustered trees fledge the wild ridge mountains steep by steep, and there by zephyrs, streams, and birds and bees, the moss-lain dryads shall be lulled to sleep. That's my favorite part of the poem, and the reason why is because it it means that you are creating something in your mind, like you're creating like a place that you can go to, and we all have that capability. That's one of the reasons why we have to unplug from like phones and social media, because our minds have so much uh, capacity and so much potential for creation, and you have to take the time to do that, to create things yourself. And so anyway, that's Keats. So now I'm going to read the Yeats poem real quick. William Butler Yeats was an Irish poet, and he also wrote plays and some uh, stories. He wrote like fairy tales. Um, and he was actually influenced by Keats. Um, and then in his later life, he became a politician. So his influences were Keats, Wordsworth, and Blake. This is one that I found interesting. One of his contemporaries was Ezra Pound, and that is a force to be reckoned with. So uh, Ezra Pound was pretty awesome. Anyway, the one that I wanted to read by him is called "The Second Coming," because the this saying keeps coming into my head lately, slouching towards Bethlehem. And he originated that, and then Joan Didion wrote a series of stories about it. It means that there's an ominous chain of events on the horizon, basically, which Bethlehem would be a reference to the second coming of Christ. And I'm not saying this from like right now politically, there's like a really heated and volatile broken Overton window on these subjects, and I'm not speaking on that. I'm not speaking from one or the other side. I'm just speaking from this specific reference, and that I wanted to look into it more. The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know the 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born? Oh, that one's heavy, but yeah. So that's the difference between Keats and Yeats. Yeats.